G'day guys, and welcome back to another Ross Reviews, where today we have got a bike, an R6. And since sadly this is being discontinued now for the new R7, I thought what better time than to get this bike out, show it off for you guys today, because this is a fantastic machine. And it is a bit sad, and if you've ever thought about getting one, now is the time. So let's get into it. Now, the R6 was first introduced in 1999, and this really did change the way people looked at 600cc bikes, because these were the first production bikes that were 600cc from factory to make over 100 horsepower. And this particular one, it's an inline 4-cylinder, fuel injected, makes over 130 brake horsepower and over 50 pound-foot of torque. And this bike only weighs about 400 pounds. It's quick, with something like a 260 kilometers per hour top speed and a quarter-mile time of under 11 seconds. It's pretty serious. Now, this bike is relatively stock. It's pretty much just got a lot of cosmetic stuff done to it, so you know, all this is blacked out. Aftermarket mirrors, shorty levers. We do have a Yoshimiro exhaust, which does sound pretty damn good, so let's have a listen and get this bike on the road. Now, driving this 2008 YZF R6. This bike does belong to my brother, and if you guys probably don't know, I guess, I have been around bikes my entire life, ever since I was 10 years old. I've always had a motorcycle. I still have a motorcycle now, not as nice as an R6, but I still have one, and yeah, I drive it pretty much every other day. This R6, look guys, it's an amazing machine, and I'm gonna tell you guys today why that is. And to me, this is definitely not a beginner bike. Definitely don't want to get this thing for your first bike, because it can kill you, but at the same time, this bike can be very forgiving if you treat it right. In the corners, it's very nimble, and this is where you get that Jekyll and Hyde personality on this particular motorcycle, because under 8,000 RPM, it drives very much kind of like a 250, you know, a learner bike. It's very lackluster, there's not much power until you get over 8,000 RPM. And this bike does redline at 16,500 RPM. So, you know, we have a huge amount of RPM base here, and you really want to sing this thing out to get all of that 130 brake horsepower. It really does like to scream. You get around this nice corner here and lean it down a little bit. And it is incredibly quick. It is just ridiculous, and we didn't even get close to the red line of this bike, and that is really why I don't feel like this is a learner bike, because it is just absolutely insane on the limit, and it's addictive. It is addictive to get higher and higher and higher on that RPM. It really does kind of remind me of my Barra Turbo. And I know some people might say that's a little bit of a weird analogy, but the fact that the Barra, you know, it is a little bit slow down low, and then when you build it, boost by RPM, and by the time you're at the top of 6 grand, you are absolutely flying. Very much like this bike. You know, you hover around 5,000, 6,000 RPM, it's very comfortable, easy to drive, cruisy, and when you get it up past 8,000, it just totally changes its personality. It just absolutely screams. Now, price for one of these bikes, you know, on the used market, to pick one of these up now, you're going to be looking here in Australia around 7 to 9 grand, depending on your condition case, mods on it. Brand new when these first came out here, these were about $16,000, and you know, it's quite a bit of money for a bike. You know, but this is a serious machine, and you know, this 600cc again was the first in the world to push over 100 horsepower stock in a 600cc inline 4-cylinder. You know, this thing is absolutely a marvel, and Yamaha really did put quite a lot of development and time in this bike. It is an absolute rush. I tell you guys right now, it's an absolute rush to push this thing anywhere close to 12,000 plus RPM. You know, it's absolutely a rush, and you know, you really got to be confident on this machine. I stress it again, it's a beast. You know, as for your controls here, this is a race-focused bike, so your tacho is right in the middle. It's the biggest thing here, and that is really all that you see. You know, to the left of you, you do have the time, and you've got your speedo here, which it's very much an afterthought. It's kind of difficult to see. It's not the purpose of this bike, because Yamaha designed this as a race bike for the track. You do have a little light over here that does give you a shift warning light. So when you get up to, you know, anywhere close to that 16,000 RPM, it will tell you to shift. It'll kind of flash. You've obviously got your trip meter above that, and basically that's all you got. You know, you've got your light switches here. You know, you can flash people with your thumb button there. Your indicators, very standard on a bike. Your horn is right directly under that. Sounds very cool. That's all you got. You don't have a fuel meter even in this bike. So that's how track orientated this bike is, that it actually won't tell you how much fuel you have. Literally, you will only get a warning light that, you know, you're about to run out of fuel. Find a petrol station as soon as you can. That's all you get. Other than that, you got to lift up the tank and slosh the bike around, see how much fuel you actually have. So, you know, as for a practical kind of bike, it's actually not all that great. Again, it is fairly comfortable to ride, but you definitely got to be on top of it if you're going to use this thing as kind of a commuter slash daily. You definitely got to love that exhaust system, though. It definitely sounds really great. Yeah, it does. This is a fantastic bike. Clutch, very easy slip point, very easy to use. Again, this bike is easy to take off the line. It doesn't try and kill you right away. And just building on it about here a little bit. Oh yeah. It's ridiculously fast, guys. Like, it's stupid fast. This bike is stupidly fast for a 600. It's stupid. You feel totally in control on this bike. Seating position again is very nice. It's lightweight, this feels, and you can just toss it. You can manhandle this bike. You know, you can really just move it around and get on them brakes. It just feels very in control. And you've got that wide tire at the rear for a 600. It just, you feel very much in control of this machine. And the fact that it doesn't automatically try and lift up that front end on you is a good thing. You know, you keep that power down. And honestly, it's just a fantastic bike. It is. Yamaha R6. Wow.
hitting that apex. Oh man, it's sweet. Oh, it's so good. And that is really the connection between man and bike, where you hit that apex and it's just so night and day different to a car, you know. Cars are amazing. I love my cars. Don't get me wrong, but there's just something so uniquely special about getting on a machine like this, hitting an apex, and just controlling this animal. If you're thinking of buying one of these guys, just go ahead and do it, because now that they're discontinued and, you know, the world is becoming so incredibly strict on petrol-powered machines, they just simply are never going to have bikes like these ever again. And this is just a marvel. It really is.
So there it is, the Yamaha R6. This bike, fantastic machine, incredibly fast, and if you're looking to get a bigger bike and you're not wanting to go to 1,000 or 1,200, which is a very wise decision if you're coming from a smaller bike, this is what you want, because again, they handle very nicely at low RPM and they're fast, stupid fast. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this R6 review. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're new here. We'll see you on that next video.